Okay, let's talk about those mind-blowing AI demos. You know the ones. They look like they're going to change the world, but then, poof, they disappear. Ever wonder why? It turns out most of them never actually become real products. Today, we're diving into the blueprint that separates the flashes in the pan from the real deal. Let's do this.
So, this graph right here, it nails the problem. It's what we call the 20-second illusion. For those first 2 minutes, everything is incredible. You're at the peak, the miracle demo moment. But then, you try to hook it up to real, messy enterprise data, and bam, success just plummets. You fall right off what's known as the cliff. And this isn't some minor bug, folks. This is a massive reality check.
So why does this cliff even exist? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. Most of these projects are built like a hackathon entry. They create a really cool feature, but they totally forget about the system needed to actually run it. You know, they skip the boring, but let's be real, the absolutely essential 80% of the work. That's all the production engineering stuff. And that gap, that's what we're going to tackle right now.
All right, our journey through this maze starts with the very first, and you could argue the most important obstacle of them all, the permission wall. And get this, it has almost nothing to do with technology. It's all about your mindset.
Okay, check out this contrast. On the one hand, you've got the hacker mindset. This is all about speed, features, move fast and break things, right? The classic line is, well, it works on my machine. And the strategy? Kind of just hope legal doesn't notice the data you're using. And we all know how that ends. Shadow IT, and your project gets blocked, dead in the water. But then, on the other side, you've got the architect mindset. And this is a whole different ballgame. The focus shifts to governance and security from day one.
The architect's motto is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Trust is the product. Seriously, that one phrase changes everything. Instead of trying to work around the rules and constraints, you build for them. And that's what gets you the green light. That's what lets you scale. It's a huge shift, right? From just building something that kind of works to building something that everyone can actually trust.
So what are the bricks in this permission wall anyway? Like I said, it's not tech. It's built out of some pretty scary stuff, real-world business and legal liability. We're talking about things like personally identifiable information, PII. We're talking about GDPR, data sovereignty, and the massive risk of leaking your company's secret sauce, its intellectual property. So when the legal team says no, they're not trying to be difficult. They're protecting the company from these huge risks. This means you can't just try to smash through the wall. You have to be smarter. You have to architect a solution for it. And that is exactly what an AI architect does. Their job is to build what you can think of as a safe room, a totally contained environment that keeps the AI model's public brain separate from your company's private, super sensitive data. They respect the wall from the get-go and build with its rules in mind.
Okay, so let's say we've made it past the permission wall. We're not out of the woods yet. Now we hit two big technical hurdles, the data wall and the control wall. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty of making our AI not just smart, but safe too. You've definitely heard the saying, garbage in, garbage out. And let me tell you, for AI, it is the absolute gospel. Your genius AI could fail at third-grade math, not because it's dumb, but because the PDFs it's trying to read are a jumbled, chaotic mess. That, my friends, is the dirty data wall. And the hero who saves the day here? That's your data engineer. They're the ones who dive into that swamp of raw, messy data and turn it into something clean and structured that the AI can actually understand and use.
All right, next up, the control wall. So your data is sparkling clean now, which is great, but the AI itself, it's having a bit of an identity crisis. It might sound totally robotic and unhelpful. Or, way worse, it could just start making stuff up, hallucinating, and maybe even recommend one of your biggest competitors. No way. This is where the applied AI engineer comes in. Their job is to give the model some much-needed guardrails and a personality that actually fits your brand.
So how do they actually do that? Well, one really effective method is called the triple threat prompt technique. It's a 3-step process. First, you define the AI's role. Tell it what it is. You are a helpful, expert financial advisor. Simple. Second, you give it critical context. So you'd feed it the user's actual portfolio data. And third, this is key, you set firm constraints. You tell it what not to do. Do not give direct investment advice. Only explain the options. You put those 3 things together and suddenly you have an AI that's reliable, safe, and perfectly on brand.
Okay, quick recap. Our AI is secure, it's smart, and it's safe. Awesome. But can it actually survive out in the wild? Can it work as a real business product? This is where we pivot from the purely technical challenges to the business ones, the scale wall and the value wall.
First, let's talk about the scale wall. This is a classic battle, right? Performance versus cost. If you're using a super powerful model like GPT-4 for every single little question, your cloud bill is going to explode, and your users are going to be waiting forever for an answer. This is where your MLOps engineer becomes your best friend. They use clever tricks like model routing, so using a smaller, cheaper model for simple questions, and caching, which is just storing the answers to common questions so you don't have to ask the AI again. It keeps performance up and costs way down.
And that brings us to the final, and you could argue the most crucial wall of all, the value wall. I mean, after all this time, money, and effort, someone from the business is going to ask, is this expensive new toy actually worth it? And that's a fair question. This is the AI product lead's time to shine. They have to prove a clear return on investment. They'll use tools like an ROI scorecard to draw a straight line from what the AI is doing to real, tangible business results.
So, there you have it, the 5 major walls that can absolutely kill an AI project: permission, data, control, scale, and value. So the big question is, how do you actually get through them? Well, let's pull it all together now with the production blueprint. This is the playbook that guides you through the entire maze. At the heart of this blueprint is a totally new process. We have to stop thinking in a straight line, from hackathon demo to failure. Instead, we need to move to this, the end-to-scale loop. It's a cycle. You build, you deploy, you measure, you scale, and then you do it all again, always with data and control right at the center. This loop is how you escape that cliff we talked about at the very beginning. And here's the best part. You don't need to go out and hire a massive team on day one. This just-in-time hiring map shows you exactly who you need and when you need them. So you bring on an AI architect to tackle that first permission wall. Then, once you're facing the data wall, you hire a data engineer. You see, you hire these specific experts to break down specific walls exactly when the problem arises. It's smart, it's efficient.
And finally, this blueprint isn't just about process and people. It gives you the actual tools you need to get the job done. This is the Production Bible Toolkit. It's got 5 key assets, things like the gap canvas to figure out your risks, and that ROI scorecard we mentioned to prove value. These are practical, repeatable tools that give your team a clear path to get over each and every wall. Which brings us all the way back to where we started. That big question, how do we finally escape that 120-second illusion? How do we really get from a flashy, fragile demo to genuine, sustainable, operational excellence?
Well, the answer is right here in this loop. We have to stop just vibe coding and hoping for the best and start engineering. We have to move away from that initial deceptive spike of false hope and get onto the sustainable, powerful momentum of this production loop. Because here's the secret. The most successful AI products aren't just used. They are governed, they are architected, and they are scaled on purpose. And that, right there, is how you turn the illusion into a reality.